Hi folks, so in this video here what we're going to do is we're going to complete a question here based on the topic of transformation geometry. Now this question comes from the Understanding Technical Graphics textbook and it would have been aimed at the old higher level technical graphics course. So what we have to do, it says here, the figure shown is subjected to transformations in the following order. So for part number 1 we're going to do a central symmetry in a point, part number 2 an axial symmetry, part number 3, a rotation clockwise through 120 degrees, and part number 4, a translation. So what we have to do essentially is for part number 1, we're going to do a central symmetry of the object from point A to A1. We're then going to, again, when we have the object at A1, we're going to do an axial symmetry from A1 to A2. And then we're going to do a rotation clockwise 120 degrees from A2 to A3. And then we're going to do a translation from A3 to A4. Okay, so as you can see, I've done the setup of the object here, and now I'm going to heavy in this little detail here. So I'm going to heavy in these 3 edges, and then to get this little arc inside here, this point is the compass point, this point is the pencil, and we're going to rotate down. Okay, so let's get that heavied in there using our 45-degree set square. So heavying in this edge, this edge, this one, and then I'm going to do a horizontal line across. You can see that horizontal line will go across there, and now we're going to use our compass, put our compass on this point, pencil up here, we'll swing the arc. Okay, and now that we've done that, I can heavy in this from there to there. I'm just going to adjust my masking tape there a little bit. A bulge in the paper. Okay, so there's the object. Now, what we have to do is, step 1, we have to do a central symmetry from A to A1. Okay, so what we're going to do is we need our point of symmetry. How do we get that? Well, step 1, to create our point of symmetry, we're going to join A to A1, like that, and then we're going to bisect that line. So pick a distance greater than halfway, swing an arc above the line, below the line, below the line, above the line. And you can see where the 2 arcs cross each other. That's going to give me a point right in here. That little mark right in there is going to be my point of symmetry. I'm going to put a little mark on that. I'm going to put a little letter C. Okay, that's going to be my central symmetry point. Now, the object has to be done by central symmetry from A to A1. So I'm going to label the rest of the object. I'm going to say B here, C, and D. There's about 4 points on the object. I understand there's an arc in here, but the arc center is at D and the radius will go out to C. So we just need to find these 4 points. A has already been found, so I want to find B now. So from B through C, out the opposite side. Okay, how do I find the image of B? Under central symmetry, put my compass on the central symmetry point, which is C, and mark it out. I've now found B1. Okay, let's do the same. Now I understand I've labelled this C, absolutely fine. So C through this point of symmetry, going to go out the opposite side. Take the distance from the central symmetry point out to C there. And once again, let's label. Sat there now is C1. And the last one we have to find is D. Through a point of symmetry. Once again, put our compass on the point of symmetry, out as far as D here, and mark it out. Okay, and there is D1. Now, really quickly, I'm going to join these up. B connects to C. I like to use just a little bit of sliding set squares here because it'll help me keep the lines equal. That looks right there. See what my accuracy is like. Yeah, pretty good. And there we go. Quite hard to be accurate in these questions. There's the object, A1, B1, C1, D1. And I know then that I can heavy in the edges from A to D, A to B. So A to B can go in heavy. I should say A1 to B1. A to D can go in heavy. B to C can also go heavy. And then I have a line joined across from D to B. Put that line in. And once again, we'll swing our arc. Compass point is on D, radius point is on C. So put my compass on D, pencil point on C. Swing our arc down until it cuts that horizontal line. There we go, and there we get our pattern. So that there is the very first one where we've done a central symmetry in the point C, which we had to locate. Now, part number 2, we have to do an axial symmetry from A1 to A2. So how are we going to do that? Well, step 1, what we're going to do now is, once again, we're going to join A1 to A2. So A1 to A2. We'll join like that. Okay, so I've got the image of A2, but I need to create an axis. So once again, we're just simply going to bisect. So we'll put our compass on A2, swing an arc above the line, below the line, and then go to the opposite side, put it on A1 and swing an arc as well. And then this point here, down to here. And that there is my axis. Okay, now that we've done that, all the lines will project for B, C and D perpendicular to that axis. And really all we have to do is go parallel to this line here from A to A1, or A1 to A2, sorry. So from A1 to A2, that line there, I'm going to use sliding set squares now. So if I want to find D, slide them down as far as D, bring it across. If I want to find C, bring it across, and here's C. And what do I do then to complete it? I take the distance for each point, so I'm going to start with C here. Take the distance from the axis to C, mark it out. That will now be C2. The axis to B, it's always the perpendicular distance. That will be B2. And this one's nice and small here. This one here then is D2. Okay, once again, I'm going to do a little bit of labels. So there's D2, and I've got C2 and B2. And we'll join them up. Pencil first, or heavy in. Quite happy with how that's looking. I think it's okay. Now we'll heavy in the edges. So A to B is heavy, A2 I should say to B2. B2 to C2 is heavy. A2 to D2 is heavy. Just following the pattern after this. Keep going. D connects across to B, so we'll put that in again. And the radius then is going to go from, get my other compass here. D is the center point, C is my radius point. So D is the center, C is the radius. Let's draw it in. And there we go. Now that we've that done, there is our axial symmetry. Okay, now the next one is whereby we have done a central symmetry, we've done an axial symmetry. Next one is rotation clockwise 120 degrees. Okay, so what that means, this one is a little bit more challenging. We're going to rotate it clockwise about 120 degrees, okay, until A2 gets to A3. So how do we do that? What we're going to do is we have to find our rotational point. Now, if we use the principle of a triangle here, A2 ends up being at A3. So, if I do that, this here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect A2 to A3, just like that, okay, and what I want to do is I want to go 120 degrees clockwise. So if we think of, I'm just going to do this here, a triangle, little sketch. and imagine there's our triangle. Okay, this point here is our rotation point, we'll call it R. Okay, and the angle inside here is 120. Now what does that mean? Because we're going to have an isosceles triangle, which means this side and this side are equal. Well then, because all the angles in a triangle add up to 180, 180 minus 120 leaves 60. That means between these two angles, they have to add up to 60 evenly. 60 divided by 2 equals 30. Therefore, this angle here is 30, and this angle here is 30. So, how do we do that? What we're going to do is from A3, we're going to get our protractor. Okay, I'll just come down here a little bit. From A3, we're going to position the center point of our protractor on A3, making sure the 0 is resting on the line connected up to A2. And we're going to read around the 30 degrees, because we're only using the base angles. So there's 30 degrees there. It's going to go this way. And then we're going to put our protractor on A2, making sure our 0 is connected to the line going down to A3. And once again, we're going to read up 30 degrees. 10, 20, 30. It's right in there. And hard to see. And from A2, let's do a line like this. Okay. And at that point there, that is R. That's essentially my triangle. Okay. Now we're going to rotate every point 120 degrees about point R. So, point A has already been found. Next one I want to find is point B. So I'm going to join R. We've got our our rotational point. We're going to join R to B. Extend it on a little bit. And all I'm going to do then is I'm going to put my protractor on the R point, the rotation point, and make sure the 0 is reading onto the B line. So central point, rotation point I should say, and the 0 is resting on the line connecting to B. And I'm going to read around from the 0 as far as 120, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120 degrees. Okay, there's my 120. I'm going to do my line down here like this. Okay, how do I find the point then? Just have to adjust my set square here on my visualizer. And I'm going to rotate B around until it gets into its position. So this is the line where B is going to be on. I'm going to get my protractor, or sorry, my compass here. I'm going to rotate B. So B is going to rotate around. And there we go. Where B cuts through this line, that there is B3. Okay, so I've got A and B. Now I have to find C and D. So I'm going to do R through C. This is the next one. Okay, you can see the line that I've just done. I'm going to put my protractor on R and make sure the 0 is resting on the line connecting to C. So you can see C was in here, but the 0 is continuing on so I can measure it accurately. And reading from the 0, I'm going to do 120 degrees, around, 100, 110, 120. So from R, C is going to be out here. Somewhere along that line is going to be C. Okay, there, just adjust this again. And all I'm going to do now is from R to C, get my compass, and I'm going to rotate from R to C there. And I've now found the position of C, or I should say C3. And then the last one we're going to do, from R connected to D, that's the line. Once again, I have to get my protractor, position it in R, make sure the 0 is on the line connecting to D. So now I'm accurate, it's positioned on R, the 0 is on the line connecting to D, reading around to 120. You can see the lines are quite close here, so this can get confusing. There's my 120, and this is the line where D is going to be on. So R out there, that was the line for C, this is the line for D, and now I'm going to rotate D until it's in its position. So center point on R, rotate D, compass up as far as D, let's rotate it all the way around, and there we go. That there is now D3. Now I'm going to join them all up. Challenge with these questions is always going to be the case of, can we keep the object the way it's meant to look? Okay? Excuse me. So, A3 connects to B3, B3 connects to C3. See how it is looking. And not too bad. It's gone a little bit out of shape there, it's looking. Method is right. So A connects to B, B connects to C, A connects to B, B connects to C, D connects to A. It's back here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, I think it's D2 connects to B2, so D3 will connect to B3. Okay, and then putting D as my center point, C here. I'll rotate this guy. There we go. That'll be our object there. Okay, so there we have it. We have done a central symmetry, an axial symmetry, and a rotation. Now the rotation involves getting that little triangle there, which I'm just going to highlight in blue, okay, from the original guy. Now that we have it done, so here's our triangle. It went from A to R, A3 to R, A2 to R, and A2 to A3. There's the triangle, and there was the 120 degrees, kind of like the little sketch up here. Okay, last one we have to do now is a translation from A3 to A4. So the whole object is just going to move, sliding set squares. Okay, quite challenging here now to be neat and tidy. So step one, we're going to join A3 to A4, just like that, and every other point on the object is going to move parallel with it. Okay, so just adjust this camera here a little bit. Now, using slide and set squares, I'm going to put the other set square here. I'm going to slide this one up along to find B3. B3 is going to be out there. I'm going to slide it along to find D3. And I'm going to slide this along here until I get to C3. Project that one out. Now, what is the distance it projects? We're going to have to take the distance from A3, and hopefully this compass will go out the distance. I don't actually think it will reach. No. I may need my adjustment. This one will work. Switch out compass. So now I'm going to take the distance from A3 to A4, just reaching. Take that distance on my compass. From A3 to A4, you can see the distance I've got there. And if I want to find B4, well, I'll put it on B3, mark it out. If I want to find C4, mark it from C3. And if I want to find D4, mark it from D3. And you can see my 4 little marks there. So here we go. B4, C4, and D4. And now let's join them up. So A connects to B, B to C. Quite a complex little question. And once again, I'm going to join D to B, because that's the bit for the middle. Okay, it's heavy in the right part, so it's going to look the exact same as the previous one, just a translation. And then switching out with our compass here. So center point on D, up to C, into the middle like that. And there we go. So there you have it, folks. Quite a complex little question there. Okay. Where we've practiced all the different types of transformations, okay. The most complicated one there was obviously the rotation part, quite a lot in that, okay, so take your time. But we did a central symmetry up here, we did an axial symmetry, we did a rotation, and then after doing the rotation we did a translation. Okay, so there you have it, folks. That there is a transformation geometry done from the old Junior Cert higher level syllabus. Hope you found it helpful.